Imagine embarking on a journey aboard the most luxurious ship of its time, the Titanic. Picture the grandeur of this majestic vessel. Over 800 feet long, with luxurious interiors fit for royalty, the Titanic was a marvel of its era. The air was electric with excitement as the ship embarked on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City on April 10, 1912. The passengers, from the wealthiest magnates to the hopeful immigrants, all shared the thrill of being part of this historic journey. For years, we've believed that this journey met an abrupt and tragic end when the Titanic struck an iceberg on April 14, just 4 days into its voyage. This catastrophic event supposedly tore open the ship's hull, and within 3 hours, the unsinkable Titanic was lost beneath the icy waves of the Atlantic. But what if everything you knew about the Titanic was a lie? On the night of April 14, 1912, disaster struck. The RMS Titanic, the largest ship of her time, was on her maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City when she met her untimely demise. As evening fell, the Titanic was slicing through the frigid waters of the North Atlantic at near full speed. The passengers, unaware of the impending catastrophe, were reveling in the grandeur of the ship. But at approximately 11:40 p.m., a shudder ran through the ship. The Titanic had collided with what was believed to be an iceberg. The collision tore a gaping hole in the ship's starboard side. The supposedly unsinkable ship was now filling swiftly with icy seawater. Panic swept through the ship as the reality of the situation became clear. Titanic's wireless operators, Jack Phillips and Harold Bride, began to send out distress signals, tapping out the Morse code for SOS into the wee hours of the morning. Ships from miles around picked up the distress call, but help was hours away, and time was a luxury the Titanic did not have. Even as the distress signals echoed into the night, the crew and passengers began a desperate scramble to evacuate. Lifeboats were launched, but the ship had not been equipped with enough to accommodate everyone. The lifeboats that were launched carried far fewer people than their capacity, a result of the chaos and confusion that reigned. As the Titanic began her final plunge, the band continued to play, a haunting melody that would become synonymous with the tragedy. By 2:20 a.m., barely 3 hours after the collision, the Titanic disappeared beneath the waves, taking more than 1,500 lives with her to the depths of the Atlantic. The scale of the tragedy was immense. A ship that was the embodiment of human ingenuity and ambition was brought down on her maiden voyage. The cause of this disaster was long believed to be the iceberg that the Titanic collided with. Yet, recent findings suggest that an iceberg may not be the sole culprit. For over a century, the iceberg theory has been the accepted cause of the Titanic sinking. This theory anchored itself in our collective consciousness, shaping our understanding of that fateful night in April of 1912. The iceberg theory is simple and straightforward. The RMS Titanic, the largest ship of its time, was making her maiden voyage across the Atlantic when she struck an iceberg. The collision caused significant damage to the ship's hull, leading to the flooding of her compartments. Despite the Titanic's state-of-the-art design, which was believed to make her unsinkable, the damage was too extensive. Within 3 hours, the ship disappeared beneath the icy waters, taking more than 1,500 lives with it. This narrative has been perpetuated through countless books, films, and documentaries. It's been etched into popular culture, becoming the go-to explanation for one of the deadliest peacetime maritime disasters in history. However, over the years, several inconsistencies and questions have surfaced that challenge this widely accepted theory. For instance, some experts have argued that the Titanic was traveling at such a high speed that the impact with the iceberg should have been more catastrophic, causing the ship to sink much quicker. Others have questioned why the ship's lookouts failed to spot the iceberg in time, despite the clear, moonless night. More so, the Titanic's sister ship, the RMS Britannic, also struck an object and sank, but managed to stay afloat for a much longer period. This has led some to wonder if there was something inherently flawed in the design of these ships that made them more susceptible to sinking. These inconsistencies have fueled speculation and alternative theories for years. Yet, the iceberg theory has remained the predominant explanation, largely due to its simplicity and the lack of concrete evidence to support alternative theories. But now, scientists have uncovered evidence that paints a different picture. Traditionally, the narrative has been that the Titanic sank due to an iceberg's impact. However, new evidence suggests that the iceberg may not have been the lone culprit. A team of dedicated researchers, using groundbreaking technology and meticulous methods, have been re-examining the Titanic story. The first piece of evidence that challenged the iceberg theory was the ship's construction. Blueprints of the Titanic were carefully scrutinized, revealing that the ship's hull was not as robust as initially believed. It was discovered that the steel used in the Titanic's construction was of inferior quality. The brittle nature of this material meant that it could not withstand the pressure of a collision, even with something less formidable than an iceberg. The researchers also found traces of high sulfur content in the steel. Sulfur makes the steel more brittle, especially in cold temperatures. On that fateful night, the temperatures were below freezing, which would have made the steel of the Titanic exceptionally brittle. Another revelation was about the rivets. The Titanic's rivets, which held the steel plates together, were made of iron rather than steel. Iron, being softer than steel, is more likely to bend under pressure. This means that even a minor collision could have caused the iron rivets to give way, leading to the opening of the ship's seams. The researchers also took a closer look at the conditions on that fateful night. They discovered that there were numerous small icebergs in the area, not just the one large iceberg that the Titanic supposedly hit. This would mean that the Titanic could have been damaged not just by a single large impact, but by multiple smaller collisions. Furthermore, they found that the night was exceptionally calm, with no wind or waves. This would have made the icebergs more difficult to spot, as there would have been no breaking waves at their bases. The ship's lookouts, therefore, might not have seen the danger until it was too late. These new findings challenge everything we thought we knew about the Titanic's sinking. Instead of a single catastrophic event, it may have been a series of unfortunate circumstances and poor decisions that led to the disaster. The inferior materials used in the ship's construction, the multiple icebergs in the water, and the calm conditions that night all played a part in the Titanic's demise. After rigorous studies and analyses, scientists have unearthed a new narrative that reshapes our understanding of the Titanic's sinking. Instead of the long-held belief that an iceberg was solely to blame, the ship's demise was due to a combination of factors that, until now, had remained hidden beneath the waves of time. The new findings suggest that a fire inside one of the Titanic's coal bunkers weakened the ship's structure, making it more vulnerable to the iceberg's fatal blow. This fire, smoldering unnoticed for days, reduced the effectiveness of the ship's watertight compartments, which were designed to keep the ship afloat in the event of an accident. This crucial detail had been overlooked in the initial investigations, leading us to believe for over a century that the iceberg was the lone villain of this tragic tale. But what does this revelation mean for us today? It underscores the importance of thorough investigations and the constant reevaluation of historical events. It also highlights the need for more robust safety measures in maritime travel. Fire detection and suppression systems, for instance, have become an integral part of modern ship design, ensuring that a hidden fire doesn't go unnoticed. Moreover, the Titanic's story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of overconfidence in technology. It reminds us that no matter how advanced our creations may seem, they are not invincible. Future maritime endeavors must always be paired with a healthy respect for the unpredictable nature of the sea and the inherent risks of travel, however technologically advanced our vessels may be. The Titanic remains a symbol of human ambition and tragedy, but its story continues to evolve as we unearth more of its hidden truths. It's a stark reminder that history is not set in stone, but a living, breathing narrative that is constantly being rewritten as we continue to explore and understand our past.